This is Insider Interviews with Epok Advice, where we sit down with some of the industry's leaders and hear about their vision for the future. Today's guest is Martha Simmons, Chief Administrative Officer and Chief Compliance Officer at Fourth Lane Partners, a multifamily office serving ultra-high net worth individuals and families across Canada. Martha brings a unique blend of legal expertise, academic leadership, and operational insight. She has a vast knowledge and experience in dispute resolution and has published extensively in that area. Before joining Fourth Lane, she spent nearly a decade at Osgoode Hall Law School, where she served as Winkler Professor of Dispute Resolution and earned many accreditations, including her JD, LLM, and PhD. She is a member of the Institute of Corporate Directors and the Law Society of Ontario, and she has served on several boards. Currently, she chairs the board of Squash Canada, which is one of our many overlaps. At Fourth Lane, she helps lead their Outsourced Chief Investment Office, or OCIO, as we would call it, and we're going to explore that a bit today. Martha, thank you so much for being here. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
So let's start with that professional background. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you ended up in the role you're in today, and moving over to the industry side away from academia.
Sure. Yeah. So it's not a straight trajectory, as many people these days will attest. I'm a lawyer by training, as you said, and I've got a master's and PhD in dispute resolution. And I began my career really in academia, which I loved for a portion of my career. And then I serendipitously met the founder of Fourth Lane through a mutual friend, and that sort of sparked the next journey of my career. I always was interested in sort of the intersection of wealth management and governance, how families interact with each other. A lot of my academic work had to do with that anyway. And so Fourth Lane really brought me to a place where it combined my personal interests with my academic interests and my career. And when I joined Fourth Lane, I saw a unique opportunity in what the team was creating that really was reimagining how families look at the family office model. And as it's moving, as you said, towards sort of the more of the outsourced chief investment office is really where we've gotten to through our firm, combining sort of that institutional grade investment management with thoughtful governance and high level client service, and really having that personal touch with families that they really have come to expect.
Yeah. So tell us the Fourth Lane story for people who aren't as close to Fourth Lane. What is Fourth Lane's mission? What's its legacy so far? Where's the focus for growth as you guys are building the business?
Yeah, so when we first started Fourth Lane, the idea was for it to be a full service multifamily office, and that was sort of the early days of our evolution. What we came to learn, as any business owner, business sort of founder will find, you have to pivot as the business grows. And as we learned from our clients and from people in the community, really they didn't want necessarily that one-stop shop with everything, because they wanted the highest caliber of every kind of service that they had.
Right.
So rather than attempting to offer the highest caliber of everything in one place, we really went back to our roots and looked in and said, what is our core competency? And from the very beginning, day one, our core competency has been on the investment side, and really offering a very diversified global offering for Canadian families, something that we really didn't have in Canada. We have it on the institutional side with our amazing pension plans. For people who are aware of sort of the endowment pension plan model, they're really sophisticated investments. But if an individual wanted that kind of investing, it wasn't available. So that was sort of the core mission that we sought to achieve, and bringing the best professionals together. We've got a really diverse team with very interesting backgrounds and super talented people, and combining that with real diligence, rigor, and true independence. We don't have our own products, so we're not building anything. We're going out and finding the best investment options for our clients, and that's quite unique. And that's really what we sought to do at Fourth Lane, and we've evolved over the years to really professionalize that. We were very lucky a year ago to have a few new senior partners join us. I guess they're not that new anymore because it's now been about a
No, but
year.
it was a big milestone for the firm. I remember having lunch with you shortly after, and it was a real turning point. So do tell that story.
Yeah, it was. It really was. It was a huge, it was a turning point in our business, which is always wonderful and exciting. But it also was a big validation for what we were offering. Robbie Pride came to us from directly from TD, TD's investment bank. He had started Newcrest many years ago, which sold to TD. And he's come on as our CEO. A lot of people who've built businesses, have seen this where a founder CEO often, turns over hands when the business evolves, and it was perfect timing for us to sort of for Ken to become just the founder, and he's still very
Yeah.
much involved in our day to day. But Robbie has come in on as CEO and really honed in on our core competencies and pushed us further. And then Rob Vanderhooft, who had been at Greystone Managed Investments. That was also bought by TD, and then he was the CIO of TD Asset Management. Has come over to join Wayne as co-CIO, which was also huge for us. So when you look at Canadian families and who do you want to manage your money, we've got our one CIO, Wayne Cozen, who ran several departments at Ontario Teachers. Um,
Right.
and then we've got Rob Vanderhooft, who is CIO of TD Asset Management.
That's awesome. And it's a sign, like you said, of confidence from the market that such talent was drawn to the firm. Talk a little bit about your clients and their families. Who do you serve, and what do they care about, and why are they picking Fourth Lane?
So we have a combination of ultra high net worth individuals and families and foundations. And those foundations could be family foundations, or they are also small, charitable foundations, sort of education, hospitals, and so on. And those sort of groups are particularly well suited to what we're offering because why do we have diversification and global reach and all of that? It's because what we're trying to do is offer steady stream, investment returns without the drawdowns that either a family doesn't want because they don't want to have to time their market for when they're planning their
Right.
life, or they don't want to lose money over a second generation. But also, a charity would want that because both whether it's a family foundation or another kind of charity, they've got to give out 5% a year of their endowed dollars, and you can't have it in a market downturn. You don't want to start dipping into principal because you're not making enough. So our very steady returns through that global diversification and lack of correlation in all of our investment products really gives them that comfort to know that you never have to worry that it's going to be bouncing up and down. Um,
Yeah.
and so that's the value that we fill for both our families and for the charities. And so it's just that sort of personal pension plan kind of model of
So you talk to many wealthy families as a team. What are some of the things that you're noticing as it relates to Canadian wealth and multi-generational wealth and entrepreneurial wealth? What are the things that you notice about what they care about, what they're seeking, the gaps that they're hoping to solve?
I think more and more people want clarity about what they're getting. They want to know they can trust the people that they're working with. Um, and they're seeing that the world is a crazy place right now. And you read the news every day, and it's
Yeah.
something else that could throw everything you're doing, whether it's your core operating business, your investments, your travel plans, everything can go up in the air. So people are seeking that comfort and really an idea that they've got peace of mind somewhere. I also find our clients love that we're a first phone call for them. Like even if it's something that we don't offer, we've built such a relationship with them that if they need something medical or they have a question about what school their kids should go to or whatever it is, even if it's not a service we offer, they call us first because they trust us.
And talk to me about, joining a firm at such an early stage, and it's trajectory. What's it been like to have sort of the mix of a really established set of professionals, but in a more of a startup or new offering? And how have you personally experienced being so close to the founder and the beginnings of this organization?
There's never a dull moment. That's for sure. So, it's as I think I said at the beginning of our talk, like I never would have imagined myself sitting here today. If you would
Yeah.
have told me, it's been now 6 years. If you would have told me 7 years ago, I would have said you were crazy.
Has it
Um,
been 6 years, 7 years?
six
It
years,
even feels
it's over
short for me.
6 years.
Like I remember talking to you when you were first going through the process, and now, I mean, that just shows you how fast time goes. But that's
Time
amazing. That's
flies.
longer than I thought, actually, Martha.
Yeah, it's been over. It was 6 years in May. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's gone super fast. But we've been able to do a lot. So it is gratifying to look back. We've got lots of funny stories that have, that we will keep for the archives, and one day we'll pull them out, maybe in our 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
Um, but the evolution has been really exciting to be part of. It's the hardest, obviously, I've ever worked in my life building a business, um, but it came at the right time, and it's been really gratifying. Our team feels more like a family than it does a workplace. We are all here for our clients. Our clients, not like someone has a book of business. We are like a totally shared office space. And so that's how, so you feel that when you're you feel that as a client, but you also feel it as someone who works with us. Is, we are one team where we all really like each other. We have a lot
Yeah.
of laughs. And I think that's really important.
And you have that sort of ownership startup piece mixed with all of that expertise. Yeah, very cool. Okay, so let's talk about OCIO, why families pick it, the value proposition, why it's something that you've focused on.
So it's a model that's quite common in the US, not as
Yeah.
much, not as much here. I think in time it will become more and more popular here. Um, I also think in some ways it's the getting away from the term family office, which has become really ubiquitous. It could mean different things to everybody you ask. So that OCIO term became really popular in the US, and now it's sort of growing here. But really what that is, it's, as the term goes, it's an outsourced chief investment office. So, if if a client comes in and they tell you their goals and what they want, we are able to then source out exactly what asset classes we think they should be in and in what proportion, um, and then go out to the world and find the best investments that we can to be able to bring to them. The ability to bring together multiple families and foundations allows us the scale to be able to access investments that we wouldn't be able to have, that someone wouldn't be able to
Otherwise,
find on
yeah.
their own. It also gives us obviously the research and rigor that would be really hard to do in a single family office,
Mhm.
because it just costs so much to run a business like that. Um, but we are standing behind the portfolio that we're curating for clients, which is quite different from other models that are out there who are just sourcing deals. And then the client, wants a deal or doesn't want a deal, and then they're going bit by bit. We're really curating a portfolio for the client.
Very cool. All right, so shifting gears, talk to me a little bit about how you've thought about technology and how technology is helping you guys as you grow. What have you learned? What's worked? Where are the gaps as it relates to technology to serve a firm of your size?
It's a challenge for sure, because we're not big enough to really create our own technology. Um, we also have found we've been through, especially on the portfolio management side, we've been through a few different tech stacks, and it's a lot of the really good products aren't built for Canadians. So whether it's on the
Right.
tax side or the particular, like there's it's hard to find technology that can service. We think we've found the right product for us now, and technology is important because clients expect it, especially increasingly as time goes on. We need technology to be able to scale our business and make it give the best client service we possibly can. Whether that's like tracking to make sure that client requests are running through the firm smoothly. And obviously, as we grow, that's more and more important. When we had a handful of clients and a small team, literally,
Right.
our office is one open office space. So it was quite easy to get things done, but that's not, scalable at all. So we've really used technology and are continuing to grow our tech stack to be able to accommodate for growth. And then clients want to be able to access everything online. So, having a really good client portal is important. And what does that look like? And for us, because our many of our investments are alternative investments, and we invest in external funds because we don't have our own products, there is a delay in the way that the reporting goes and things like that. So really trying to use technology um, to support clients in getting all the information that they need when they want it is sort of, an ongoing, we always want to make sure that we're keeping up with the latest.
Right. So if you had a magic wand and could take one of those key technologies that haven't been made for the Canadian investor yet, which would you pick? Like, what do you think is the biggest gap that should be solved?
It's a great question. And it's funny. I mean, my mind obviously goes first to AI. Like, if AI could just like do like make sure that everyone's IDs are updated and make sure, and there are pieces that can do that. But I also then on the back of my hand, as on my chief compliance officer side, the OSC has just come out with cybersecurity and AI as one of their key things that they're looking at, because like we need to make sure that our clients are protected, that their information's protected, that their money's
Right.
protected. So ChatGPT or something, we never want to use client names in it because we never want to put that out there. So how are we making sure that we're leveraging technology but not stepping on sort of the, losing privacy piece? Um,
Yeah.
that's sort of what worries me. But then, maybe what I would wish for is a system that was sort of fully internal but could still leverage the same, benefits.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's definitely a focus for lots of wealth tech founders that I'm talking to. So fingers crossed, we're going to have a major leap this next couple of years. Talk to me a little bit about dispute resolution. Why is that a passion of yours? What are some of the things you've seen or been on the front lines of as someone who specializes in dispute resolution? And why is it a good fit for what you're doing now?
So, I mean, we do dispute resolution every day. Everybody does. Whether we do it well or not is a question. But it's been a passion of mine since sort of probably before law school. I'm a middle child, so we're sort of born mediators. But definitely once I got into law school, I knew that that was something I wanted to pursue. And then in my sort of how I got into it was again just sort of happenstance, but I was at a large law firm on Bay Street in Toronto. And while I was on mat leave with my first daughter, the law firm shut down overnight. And so that pushed me to say, what do I want to do? They were sending me on interviews at other Bay Street firms. And I was like, do I really want this? I had a baby. And then, 18 months later, I had twins. So it was an opportunity for me to look at my career at the time. And I went back to that passion in dispute resolution and said, what do I do? And that's why I went on to do my graduate work in the area. So it's partly because we use it every day, partly because being skilled in dispute resolution can really solve a lot of problems for a lot of people. I use it in all aspects of our work, whether it's internal, also in my role as chief administrative officer, I'm do HR. So like obviously that takes place there, but delivering messages to clients. How do you think about what clients care about? What questions do you ask when a prospect comes in? Like that's all the skills that I learned through mediation. Active listening. How do you really make sure you understand what matters to somebody?
And what do people mostly get wrong when they're in a situation of misalignment or where there could be a dispute? What's the one thing that people get wrong most of the time?
Uh, I think they do a few things wrong, but
Okay, say more than one then.
but one core one is jumping to solutions too early. I think we all are built not everybody, but definitely people who have a lot of experience, type A professionals often just want to solve a problem and will jump to the solution that they would use themselves. When the person you're talking to may have a very different outlook or might have other interests that that you may not know about yet. So rather than jumping to the solution and telling people what to do, ask lots of questions, find out what really matters to them, and then the solutions you can co-create together are actually longer lasting, more meaningful solutions. um, so I think that's the key, and really also recognizing that people are different. I think that maybe one of the good things that came out of COVID was recognizing that everyone sort of deals with things in different ways, and we need
Right.
to be kind to ourselves and to others, and um, you know just be a little bit nicer and and don't jump to conclusions about why someone, like, what the motivations behind what people are doing are. So again, just really listening and asking a lot of questions, and having that openness before jumping to conclusions.
Yeah. And when you think about what gets you excited about our industry and where it's going, like what makes you interested in the industry for the next, let's say, decade of your career? Why do you think people should care about the future of advice? And where's the part that really gets you energized?
I mean, I think a lot of this whole industry, working with clients, to me is that's the most exciting thing you can do, because everyone's different, families are different,
Yeah.
and so it just creates a very exciting daily challenge. But I think the industry is shifting. I think that clients want to know more, and want to be more involved in some ways and want to be less involved in other ways. Like, I think that they want to know that they can trust the person that's stewarding their wealth, but they also want to learn. And so, really being able to combine those two things. We also have an office in Cayman, and I've noticed a big shift. A lot of Canadians are starting to think about going offshore themselves, or offshore structures. I think that's a really interesting sort of next step. Like, what's that going to look like going forward if our taxes remain, you know, you know, an impediment as they are, and the younger generation doesn't feel stuck in one place. Uh,
Right.
the younger generation's happy to move anywhere. They grew up in a very global internet world, so they don't feel as tied to place as I think we do. Um, Maybe that's sad for us because our kids might not come back, but
Oh, well, I'll visit anyone in Cayman. That's one of my favorite places to go. So you just let me know. Just let me know when you need someone to come visit.
perfect. But that's a really exciting part of our business, is growing down there, because it's growing really fast.
Yeah.
And a lot of former Canadians, but also people from all over the world. And so I think that that's something that we should keep an eye on. I was surprised at the dearth of really high end wealth managers down there when we were doing our research. There's a lot of hedge funds that are down there, and really excellent
Right. And
people.
reinsurance and stuff.
Um,
Yeah.
but in terms of that wealth space, so it's been a bit of a great niche for us down there, and we've got two incredible young guys down there running that part of our business.
Okay, so then I'll ask one last question, which is if anyone's looking to find you and listens today and thinks, "Oh my gosh, I got to meet Martha or I got to learn more about Fourth Lane," how do they find you?
So we have a brand new website. That's the key. I spent a lot of time working on it, so please go check it out, www.fourthlane.com. And then send me an email, martha.simmons@fourthlane.com. And I would be happy to speak to anybody about their journey or how I can be helpful. As I said, that we really try to create an ecosystem and support people where they are. So any conversation is a great conversation.
That's great. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So grateful to have Martha join us and share the Fourth Lane story. We are seeing a lot of innovation in the OCIO, ultra high net worth, multifamily office space right now. It's an exciting time. If you're looking to add better servicing or diversify what you bring to wealthy families and their next generation, we'd love to talk.